supposed to go to court.
I can't wait to see what I've done.
Call our meeting to order, please. Martha, please take roll.
Davis?
Here. Oh, sorry. Stop. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance first.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now please take roll.
Okay. Davis.
Here.
Flora.
Here.
Inman.
Here.
Crane.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Rothrock.
Here.
Schlossmacher.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we get started this evening, I want to welcome all of the residents and members of the public that are here this evening. We will be going through a number of agenda items. If you're here to talk about something specific on the agenda, we can take your comment at that time. If you are here to comment about something that's not on the agenda, item number 4 of our agenda is for that purpose. And so, moving on, item number 1, we do not have any public hearings tonight. However, we have a lot of special presentations this evening. We have 6. So we are going to start out, and then once I make my introductory remark, I'm going to come down and join you down below. But we are pleased tonight to recognize Affan Ansari, who is the winner of this year's Arbor Day poster contest. Affan is a 5th grader at Rushton Elementary, and in addition to winning this local level poster contest, he is also the statewide winner of the poster contest. So Ms. Humrickhouse and several members of our Parks and Rec and Tree Commission are here this evening to help us recognize Affan and to make our Tree City USA presentation. Ms. Humrickhouse.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm sure you probably have all read the article in the Mission Magazine already, but I would, just for the audience and those who might be watching, I'd like to go ahead and read just a little bit of it. Climbing a tree, swinging from its branches, or reading a book under its shade, there are a bevy of ways young people receive enjoyment from trees. Mission resident and Rushton Elementary School 5th grader Affan Ansari captured this idea with his award-winning Arbor Day poster, drawn to reflect the theme, Kansas Trees Are Terrific and Energy-Wise. Affan's poster was selected state champion in a statewide poster competition hosted annually by the Kansas Forest Service. More than 1,100 posters were submitted statewide, and the competition is open to public, private, and homeschooled 5th graders across the state. On Friday, March 23rd, Affan was recognized at his school with the planting of 2 trees, a Brandywine maple donated by the Kansas Nursery and Landscape Association, and a wildfire black gum donated by the Kansas Forest Service. He was also recognized as the statewide Tree City USA event in Lawrence. And last but not least, you're still going to do it on the 30th, right? You haven't been over to Topeka yet, or?
No, we have.
Okay.
23rd.
Okay, yeah. And he was a guest of the governor, and a tree has been planted in his name on the Capitol grounds in Topeka. So, Affan says he cares a lot about the environment and respects trees' ability to adapt to their environment, and he believes this is something that people could emulate. So, I do have with me tonight Karen Capron and Jackie Gameson from the Park, Recreation, and Tree Commission, and they are going to help us present Affan with his poster. So, Affan, if you could come on out.
Audience know about the mirror that is reflecting your tree. Do you have a comment that you'd like to make?
We've heard a lot of news about people cutting down trees, wildfires in California. Some of them set by people, some of them just happen naturally. So I thought, why not do something unique? So before these kind of things were happening, that tree wasn't dead, it was alive, and the mirror that you see here was broken. And the broken pieces of the mirror show how trees are good for us, like how they release oxygen oxygen and help with your heating and AC costs, and how they help with support and prevent erosion.
Excellent thought. Was one of 1,157 entries in the state of Kansas. So I think, Affan, you have made us so proud, and Mission needs to be proud too, that we have a wonderful student like Affan at Rushton. Thank you so much for being part of our poster contest. Take this back to your father if you would like to greet the council.
Pose for a photo first. And
Okay, we're going to do a photo first. We'll do photo op.
all right. Look here. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. This is official.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we gotta do the flag.
Okay, thank you so much.
Maybe he could tell Sweet.
Oh, gosh darn it, yes, this is the most important. I know you're going to be a cardiologist in just a couple of years, right? But you probably don't have your driver's license yet. Do you have someone here with you tonight?
Yeah, my dad and my brother.
Hi, Dad and brother. And it has been just, it has been such a joy to get to know Affan and his family over the last couple months, and I think we're fortunate that we have him as part of our community. So, next, just go right into it, Mayor.
Tree City?
Yeah. Okay. Mission has once again been recognized by the Kansas Forest Service and the Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA community. Ceremonies were held in Lawrence to pay tribute to and recognize the 95 Kansas communities that are actively managing their community forest. Mission has been recognized as a Tree City USA for 16 years. To qualify for Tree City USA, a community must designate a tree board or department by municipal ordinance to operate the program. Have an annual budget of $2 per capita and participate in Arbor Day with a proclamation and a tree planting ceremony, which we have done all of for this year already. But again, Karen and Jackie are here to present the mayor with our flag and the hat that he will wear proudly.
That's for official yard work.
I like that.
And we'll present this to the city as well. The certificate for Tree City.
And the flag, we get a new
And the
flag.
flag.
Because they get kind of beat up over the years, so we need a new one.
And we
Yeah, let's check out on this on further.
will unfurl the flag.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Thank you.
Shouldn't you have your hat on?
That's long, isn't it?
It's been 20 minutes. All right, next special presentation is May 13th to May 19th is National Police Week, and I'm honored to present our police department with a proclamation recognizing their service. Thank you to all of our officers who keep us safe, working with our students, and helping our business community. Chief Hadley, please accept this proclamation on behalf of your officers. Next up, each year we recognize our Public Works Department for the important work that they do for our city. National Public Works Week is May 20th to the 26th, so I encourage all of you to take a few minutes to thank our Public Works staff. We rely on them to maintain our infrastructure and they have an outstanding reputation when it comes to keeping our roads clear of snow. I'd like to present this proclamation to John Belcher.
Who's not?
Who's
He
not
had
here.
a funeral unexpectedly
Okay.
that he had to attend, so
All right.
we'll make sure that we get it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Next, we have, this is Kids to Park Day. Kids to Park Day is Saturday, May 19th. So thanks to our Parks and Recreations Department for their work in promoting an active lifestyle and offering a wide variety of classes from exercise to art. And these are available to all of us. Ms. Humrickhouse, I'd like to present you with this proclamation, and please give us an update on what you have planned for this Saturday in our parks. So here. Okay, here we go.
Well, first of all, if everybody can do their little Don't Rain dance, that would be great. But Kids to Park Day was founded in 2011 by the National Parks Trust. Each year, Kids to Parks is celebrated on the third Saturday in May. This day of play is meant to connect kids and families with their local, national, and state parks. This is a great day for families to get outdoors and explore. As of today, the City of Mission is the only Parks and Recreation Department in the KC Metro region to host this event. This is our third annual event, and we hope to continue to have many, many more successful ones. So the event will take place this Saturday in Streamway Park from 10 a.m. to noon, and it will include Lewis and Clark enactor on site. We'll have track casting, skulls and skins, and owl pellet dissection from the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. Yeah, it's the place to be. Live animals with animal wonders, leaf and tree identification with Mission Parks Recreation and Tree Board. I think those two back there. Birdhouses with Lowe's Home Improvement, backyard bass fishing, nature walks, scavenger hunt, prizes and giveaways, and every family will receive a chinkapin oak seedling as long as supplies last, and families will also receive a Mission Parks and Recreation grocery bag with a summer catalog and flyers for upcoming events. So I can tell you that Skulls and Skins, Kansas Department of Wildlife and Park delivered those day before yesterday, and they've stored them in the North Kitchen back by my office. And Nick Shepard, our recreation programmer, strategically placed all of them so they're all looking at the door. So when you don't know they're in there and you unlock the door, push it open and flip the light on, you've got all these stuffed animals looking at you. So
what was the time?
it is 10 to noon on Saturday at Streamway.
It's a lot of stuff to do.
It's a lot to do. So, okay, thank you very much.
Next, we have our Building Safety Month proclamation. This is our second year recognizing Building Safety Month. Thank you to our staff and our consultants who work to ensure our homes, buildings, and infrastructures are structurally sound and safe for all of us to use. Also, thank you to our neighborhood services officers. We have with us this evening Nilo Fanska and James Gorham, and I'm here to give them the proclamation. Come on up, gentlemen.
That's what two?
And all of you. Okay. Looks like you. One in. All right.
1, 2, 3. Great.
All right. And last but not least is Bike Month proclamation. I'd like to present this proclamation recognizing May as Bike Month 2018 to Ms. Randall. Mission continues to work to make our city as bike-friendly as possible through our efforts with Bike Walk KC. We're sharing bikes with those who need them and encouraging safe biking in Mission. So after I give you this, would you like to say a few words about Bike Month? Oh, there.
No, I'm taking a couple because I'm not as good as she is. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We have had a number, as you all know, fun activities, both within collaboration with the Sustainability Commission in Mission and with Bike Walk KC, our regional leaders in pedestrian and bike safety and advocacy. We keep kind of experimenting and trying new ways to get people on 2 wheels around here, and we've had, just in last April, our Give a Bike, Take a Bike event. That was just a really great community night with bike maintenance tutorials and community members just sharing of their bikes and getting new ones, new to them. We'll be taking donations for new children's bikes for our holiday adoptions all this year, raising money and taking donations, so we're going to be ready for that this holiday season too. And then we keep working on infrastructure improvements as well, as the mayor mentioned, for safe riding in Mission. So, thank you.
All right, that concludes item number 2. Moving on to item number 3 is issuance of notes and bonds. And we do not have any notes and bonds on our agenda this evening. So item number 4, this is what I talked about earlier. This is, I'm sorry, no it's not. Item number 4 is consent agenda. So our consent agenda has 4 items tonight. If a council member or member of the public would like an item removed from the consent agenda, they may request that at this time. Is there anyone who would like something removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I move the City Council adopt the consent agenda as printed, items 4A through 4D.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the vote.
Schlossmacher?
Aye.
Thomas?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Rothrock?
Aye.
Inman?
Aye.
Kring?
Aye.
Flora?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item 5 is community committee reports. If you have any questions regarding any of our community committees, you may ask staff or bring them up under new business. Item 6 is public comments. This is what I talked about earlier, that if anybody is here to talk about something that's not on the agenda, this is the time to do that. Does anyone have anything they would like to say? If you do, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Sandy Russell, and I am a Mission resident, 6416 Millhaven Drive, as well as a business owner, Twisted Sisters Coffee Shop, 5606B Johnson Drive. And I just wanted to invite all of you this Friday, Coffee with the Cops, starting at 8 o'clock. And it's a special event, and it is also a fundraiser for a wonderful young man from the UK that the police force has basically adopted, and we would like to all see you there.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to make comments? Seeing none, we move on to item number 7. Item number 7 is action items. Tonight we have one item from our Planning Commission. Mr. Scott, will you please provide us an overview of the proposed lot split at 5538 Maple?
Thank you, Mayor. The item before you tonight is a proposed lot split. Mr. David Beener, who's in the audience with us tonight, and he and his wife own the lot. Currently the lot is 120 square feet wide by 140 feet deep. And he would like to split the lot down the middle, kind of east to west, creating 2 lots, each 60 feet wide and 140 feet deep. And his intention is to sell the one lot to a potential buyer that he has kind of a handshake agreement with so far. I will state that currently the city code allows lots no more than 70 feet wide and an average depth of 110 feet, but there is an exception to that in the code, and I'll read the exception. Any lot may be split to a minimum width of 60 feet and a depth of 110 feet if it complements the overall character of the adjacent neighborhood, and considering the applications for a lot split to a width of less than 70 feet, the lot width of any newly created lot may not be less than 75% of the average front lot width of lots within the subject property's block. So essentially it has to be congruent with the other lots that are in that block. And all of those lots typically average around 60 to 62 and a half, some are 65. So when you apply that calculation, 75% of the average lot width would be 53 feet. And so this is obviously above that. So this would be compliant with that exception. The Planning Commission did hear this consideration. They approved it unanimously to be recommended to you all. So, any questions or? I don't think so. Mr. Deaner's here too. Do you have questions for him as well? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I move the City Council uphold the recommendation of the Planning Commission for approval of the lot split at 5538 Maple Street. And that's case number 18-01.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussions or questions? Seeing none, please call for a vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Item number 8, committee reports. Councilmember Schlossmacher, would you please provide a report on the Finance and Administration Committee?
Thank you, Mayor. First up tonight we have our 2017 audit presentation. So Kansas statutes required annual audit of the city's financial statements. The audit for the 2017 fiscal year was conducted by Arbor, Tran & Company, certified public accountants. This audit includes an examination on a test basis of evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements, assessing the accounting principles used, and significant estimates made by management, as well as an evaluation of the overall basic financial statement presentation. The city received a clean or unqualified audit for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017. Representative with Arbor Tran are here and will present an overview of the audit. Following the presentation, the council will have an opportunity to vote to accept the audit as presented. So if you guys would like to go ahead and present your findings.
Good evening. I'm Stacy Hammond with Arbor Tran, and I'm the partner on the City Admissions Audit. Tonight with me is Emily Sheldon, who acted as manager this year on the City Admissions Financial Statement Audit. We're pleased to be here tonight to present the results of the audited financial statements of the City of Mission. I think everyone has in front of them 2 documents. One of them is a very large document titled the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which is the audited financial statements, opinion, and footnotes and other information related to the City of Mission. The other report is a report addressed to the mayor and members of the City Council. And that report sets forth items that we're required by audit standards to report related to the results of the city's annual audit. And I'm really going to be going through the items in that report tonight as the basis of my presentation. So if everyone would like to open it up to page 1, if you'd like to follow along. The first thing I need to talk about is our responsibilities in performing the city's audit, which are to perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and also standards set forth in the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. As already mentioned, those standards do require us to perform procedures in order to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements of the city are free of material misstatement. We perform an analysis of the city's accounts. We examine on a test basis evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. Also look at the accounting principles that the city uses and any significant estimates that are made by the city. As a result of all of those procedures that we performed, we were able to determine that the city's financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And therefore, we issued an unmodified audit opinion, and that is the best kind of opinion that the city can receive. Moving on to the next section of the report, we would bring to your attention here anything that we identified in the procedures that we performed relating to changes in existing accounting policies, newly adopted accounting standards, or any significant or unusual transactions that we might have encountered during the audit. There's nothing that we're required to report in any of those areas. Moving on to page 2 of the report, the city does have several significant accounting estimates that we're required to test. If you look at page 4, I believe, there is a page called Summary of Significant Accounting Estimates. The city has several estimates, and those are the city's net OPEB obligation, the city's net pension liability, where the city is required to report its share of the CAPER's liability,
and the fair value of the city's investments. Our responsibility as auditors is to determine that the process that management has in place in recording the estimate is reasonable. And as a result of our test work, we were able to conclude that management's process for reporting estimates is reasonable, and that's what we have in the final column, that conclusion on page 4 related to each estimate. Moving back to page 3 of the report, there were several audit adjustments that we had to make to the trial balance presented to us to begin the city's audit this year. And those are summarized on the final 10 pages of this report. A number of those adjustments were made to record the city's accounts on the modified accrual or full accrual basis of accounting, converting it from that cash basis to accrual basis, which we're required to report on for the city's audited financial statements. The city's financial accounting software essentially operates on a cash basis throughout the year, and so the city has to provide us with information to make those accrual adjustments at year-end when we come in to do the audit. A number of those adjustments relate to that. There were a few adjustments that we made that we call prior period adjustments to correct the previously issued 2016 financial statements. Those are summarized on page 36 of the larger comprehensive annual financial report. The final sections on page 2 of the report and on page 3 are items where we would have to report if we had any significant difficulties with management during the audit or any significant disagreements that we might have encountered in performing the audit. I'm pleased to report that nothing like that arose in any area. Management of the city was extremely cooperative and transparent in answering all the questions that we had throughout the course of the audit. I would like to point out that we did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls of the city. If we had, we would have been required to document those in this report to this mayor and city council. So the fact that you see nothing there related to that is a good sign. We did issue a management letter where we discussed a couple of what we call internal control deficiencies, which are deficiencies in the city's internal controls that are more minor and don't rise to the level of being a significant deficiency or material weakness in internal controls. And those are summarized in a letter, and it starts right past page 4 of this report. The first item relates to documentation of review. The city does have review procedures for reviewing its monthly interim financial statements and payroll registers. When we were doing our test work, we didn't see the physical evidence of that review, even though it happens. We like to see that physical evidence if an outside party came in and said, well, are these items being reviewed? You don't see a sign off, and so there's not that physical evidence present. So it's our recommendation, that the city put in process, a form of physical or electronic sign-off on those documents so that there can be an evidential trail of the review of them. The other internal control deficiency related to the prior period adjustments that we had to report to correct the prior year financial statements. It's simply our recommendation that the city review its trial balance at year-end to make sure that all necessary adjustments have been reported. Just past the management letter is a longer letter with a bunch of numbered items, and that's on the City of Mission's letterhead. We call that the audit representation letter. That letter is the final step in the process of conducting the audit, and it sets forth in writing all the items that management represented to us throughout the course of the audit. We like having the governing bodies look at that letter and so that you know what management of the city has represented to us throughout the course of the audit. And we feel like it helps you to fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities in seeing that as well. Finally, I would like to thank Brian and his staff for their hard work in preparing for the annual audit this year. It's not easy to change auditors. They spend a really significant amount of time documenting internal controls and answering a really high volume of questions that we had in getting to understand the city's operations and conducting the audit. So thank you very much. At this point, I'd open it up to any questions that anyone might have about the audit report.
Looks like we're good.
Thank you very
seeing that nobody had any questions, Mayor, I move that the City Council accept the audited financial statements for the year ending in December 31st, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I would just like to, I would just like to say good work by the staff, keeping such clean records, and it sounds like everything was pretty smooth there, so it's a testament to the work you guys do.
All right, please call roll.
Flora,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schlesmacher,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
All right, next up we have item number 8B. It's a waiver of Chapter 205 related to fireworks. The city historically provides a fireworks display at the conclusion of the Mission Summer Family Picnic scheduled for July 7th at Broadmoor Park. In order to proceed with this display, council must waive the requirements of Chapter 205 of the City Code. Council must also approve the authorization of funds for the purchase of fireworks. During the committee meeting, it was recommended that the budget for the purchase of fireworks be increased to $750. Councilmember Kring will be responsible for the purchase of the fireworks. Mayor, I move the City Council waive the requirements of Chapter 205, fire prevention and protection as it relates to public exhibitions for Saturday, July 7th, 2018, in connection with the Mission Summer Family Picnic at Broadmoor Park, and approve the purchase of fireworks in an amount not to exceed $750.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can we make sure to keep these far away from Pat Quinn until that day?
Until that day.
Yeah.
All right, please call for a vote.
Inman,
Aye.
Flora,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
That concludes the Finance and Administration report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Inman, will you provide a report on Community Development Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 8C, Broadmoor Design. Broadmoor from Johnson Drive to Martway Street is a CARS, which is a county-assisted road project. Eligible project scheduled for construction in 2019. This proposed task order with Olson Associates will provide all the necessary engineering services from design through the construction of the project in the amount not to exceed $108,340. The scope of the project includes full depth pavement replacement of curbs, installation and/or replacement of sidewalks, ADA improvements, installation of stormwater infrastructure, and the replacement of street signs and the traffic signal at Johnson Drive and Broadmoor. Mayor, I move the City Council approve the task order with Olson and Associates for the design of Broadmoor Street from Johnson Drive to Martway in the amount not to exceed $108,340.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Yes.
I would just like to make sure that we encourage the public works staff, especially John's been great with interfacing with the public, since we did have comments on this at a public forum, that through this entire process, the business owners along that corridor are kept informed along the way, and all the information is transparent, because we did have some concerns at the time. So I just want to make sure that during the process that they are all informed of the timing, everything else that goes along with that, in concert with the comments that we got that night.
Absolutely. Mayor, I might add, I know we did have several comments at that first public open house, and much of what we heard relates to, and what we learned more about was some parking issues in general in that area. And so we're taking a step back to make sure we understand and can address those as we start the next round of conversations surrounding the design and for this project. So I wanted to let you know that we heard those things, but the street design is not going to alleviate some of the concerns related to parking that we heard as a result of that first open house. So we will continue to work on that and keep everyone apprised of when those meetings are.
So we will be having more public meetings then?
Yes.
Okay, very
Yes.
good.
Right.
That concludes the CDC.
Well, we haven't voted yet.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody in the audience want to make any comments at this time? Yes, please.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name is Kevin Hinkle. I am the owner of KH Automotive located at 5925 Broadway. I would like to, at this time, address the idea of installing I missed that open meeting that I was busy that night, so I wasn't able to to be there. I was at the meeting that was held at Johnny's Barbecue 7 years ago, where that first proposal came up with the angled parking, and that's what I would like to talk about tonight. This idea brought up about around 7 years ago with tremendous pushback from the business owners on Broadmoor because of the impact it would actually have on their businesses, and how some would actually lose parking spaces, not gain them, which in turn simply cost us revenue. The proposed plan from 7 years ago showed myself losing 6 parking spaces on my property, as well as block access to one of my garage doors on the west side of my building, rendering that workspace useless to me. There is a lift located within that part of the shop that I would not be able to get to or use anymore, which would have an effect on my bottom line. It would mean one less employee in my shop, which would reduce my gross income by 1/3, which would also reduce the amount of sales tax I collect each year by 1/3, which means less revenue I'm bringing into the city. Looking at the span of Johnson Drive from Road Boulevard to Metcalf, which is a total of 1.5 miles, only 0.3 miles of it has the angled parking and sidewalk, with the sidewalk that runs in front of all those businesses. The location of the sidewalk allows pedestrians to window shop along that stretch. And all the businesses along that stretch are businesses that have customers that stop in for something quick, like a donut, a cup of coffee, and things like that. A flush valve for the toilet at the hardware store, and so on. Their stay at those businesses is not very long. Also, all those businesses are located in buildings that are the exact same distance from Johnson Drive. The exceptions to this along Johnson Drive are the businesses that require longer parking periods for their customers. Businesses like the bar, Casey's Auto Repair, and the Animal Hospital. Although these businesses are located along that stretch of angled parking on Johnson Drive, it appears that they were exempted from complying with that change along Johnson Drive. Most of the businesses along Broadmoor between Johnson Drive and Martway are like the bar, Casey's, and the animal hospitals. You have another animal clinic, you have a dentist, which has its own parking lot already, a furniture store, and myself at KH Automotive. All of our patrons spend more time at our places than at the donut shop, the energy drink store, the coffee shop, and the photo lab. Cars belonging to my customers can be parked there for more than a day while waiting on approval or parts or something like that, just as like Carl Casey is. Also, all the buildings along the stretch of Broadmoor are all located at different distances from the street, so trying to install angled parking simply won't work. You won't have a sidewalk located right in front of outside the front doors of those businesses along that stretch. Instead, you're going to ruin vital parking already in place to the small businesses that rely on that vital parking every day. Instead of ruining our vital parking, I would suggest you resurface Broadmoor just the way it is and repair the curbing, all of which is badly needed. You already have businesses along the stretch that have resurfaced their parking lots and more to come. KH Automotive will be getting a new parking lot in 2018. Dr. Lang next door has done an amazing facelift on what was a dilapidated building for a long time, including paint, windows, doors, fascia, and so on. You also asked her to redo the elevated planter at the front of her property as she was doing these renovations, which if you go ahead with your angled parking plan, would have all that taken out, and on all those expenses that she would incur to doing that would be all for naught. As business owners, we're doing our part of the beautification. Leave Broadmoor the way it is, just resurface it and fix the curbs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so my understanding is this action item this evening is to approve expenditures for some design and engineering. It has not been decided what that design is going to be, and there are going to be more discussions in public forums before that decision is made.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, any other discussion?
Laura, do we know what the timeline looks like for that process, for getting to the design?
Well, this is a CARS project for 2019, so the funds for construction are not even available to us until after January. So I think it will just depend in part on how quickly we can get through some of the public process, and then move into, I mean, they can start the surveying work and some of those other pieces associated with the design prior to that. But when John is back, we can kind of get you a better idea, put together a calendar for that.
All right, any other discussion or comments, questions?
Do we have a time frame when we will be voting on this, after we go through the public process and other possible open forum, get the funding in place? Do we have a time frame for looking at what the next step is on this project? Is there, with CARS eligibility projects, you have a time frame you have to fulfill. Where are we on the time frame for that?
We're
I'd like to
ahead.
hear more from business owners, quite honestly.
Well, yes, and the design is always, design costs are always 100% the city's responsibility. So we incur those, and we incur those generally in a year or so in advance of when the construction dollars become available. So that's why we've started that conversation in 2018. Hopefully to be able to be positioned to start construction when the season would allow in 2019. We would still have to, so you're still going to have to approve a final design. We would still have a specific interlocal agreement with CARS to commit our portion of the funding and accept the county's portion of the funding. So there's still many, many steps left before we get to
And it's
that.
my understanding the final design will include annual parking, is that correct?
No, we haven't, what this task order before you tonight simply authorizes us to proceed to a final design. That was a conceptual design that was developed in 2011.
Right.
And so you don't have a final design. You have to go through this process.
So we still have options on the table?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Laura, was this bid based off that 2011 design? You know, this $108,000, is that what it was built around? I'm just imagining if, say we ended up, you know, going with something simpler than in what's involved in kind of the original discussion, would that, you know, design costs end up going down, or is it capped?
I think you could have. I think it has the potential to go down. I think if you look at the task order, it breaks up the responsibilities of that and assigns some hours and different fees with different components of the project. So it's certainly this is based on the size and scope of the project that's anticipated, and so many of those things would not change. I mean, obviously we know that the parking and the location of the parking is a big question, but the installation of the stormwater structures, the curbs, the actual pavement itself, many of those things, traffic signal, are costs that aren't going to fluctuate based on that design of specifically the parking.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the question.
Flora,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Schlossmacher,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
Now that concludes the Community Development Committee.
All right, thank you. Unfinished business, we do not have any this evening, so we'll move on to new business. Tonight, we need to select our chairpersons and vice chairpersons for our council committees. We'll start first with our Finance and Administration Committee, and first vote on the chairperson, and then we'll follow with the vice chairperson. And then we'll do the same thing with the Community Development. Do I have a motion for chairperson of the Finance and Administration Committee?
Mr. Mayor, I nominate Nick Schlossmacher for the position of Finance Administration Committee Chairperson for the term expiring May 15, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for that position? Hearing none, let's call for a vote.
Davis,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Flora,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Finance Administration Vice Chairperson, is there a motion?
Mayor, I nominate Ken Davis for the position of Finance and Administration Committee Vice Chairman for the term expiring May 15, 2019.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, let's call for the vote.
Thomas.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Is there a motion for Community Development Committee Chairperson?
Mayor, I nominate Kristen Inman for the position of Community Development Committee Chairperson for a term expiring May 15th, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations?
Who seconded?
Oh.
Make them arm wrestle.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, let's call for a vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Chairperson for Community Development Committee.
Mayor, I nominate Sully Flora for the position of Community Development Committee Vice Chair for a term expiring May 15, 2019.
Second.
We have
Thank you.
a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, let's call for a vote.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion
All
carries.
right. Moving on to item 11, these are comments from the City Council. This is an opportunity for comments from our council members. Does anyone have anything they would like to share? Debbie?
Just quickly, I had the honor this year of putting on a course at Horizons High School on building a resume and interviewing techniques. And it just kind of shows each of us have all these little niches that we have in our background besides just sitting on this council. And I was honored to work with 27 kids who are graduating in about 10 minutes. And it's an honor to work with the schools and do a lot with our kids and seeing them from point A to point B. And I just want to say it was an honor, and all of us collectively and individually all work on things outside, sometimes outside mission, but definitely outside this board to make sure that the city's going well. So I just want to thank you for letting me do that.
Thank you, Debbie.
Any other comments? Yes, Ken.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that Sully Flora and I had a very nice meeting with our Ward 4 and appreciated your attendance at that meeting. It was held on May 8th. And I also want to thank the police department for its representation. We had Captain Dan Madden and Kirk Lane, who was present, and spoke for about 30 minutes, and it was quite an interesting crowd there. We had approximately 25 people in attendance, so it was very well.
That's our second one in a row that went really well, and we'll be keeping them up quarterly.
That's right.
Pat Quinn and I just set our next board meeting. Will be 25. June 28th at 7 o'clock at Sylvester Powell. And we'll have John Belcher to talk about infrastructure issues, kind of give a rundown of what infrastructure looks like in the city. So, any Ward 1 people or anyone else, feel free to attend.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 12. This is appointments. I put before you the appointment of Alexis Penny, Ward 2, to the Sustainability Commission with a term expiring December 31st, 2019. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the City Council uphold the appointment of Alexis Penny to the Sustainability Commission with a term expiring December 31st, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is she here?
Would you stand up, please, and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Alexis. I've been a Mission resident off and on for 25 years. I went to Highlands Elementary and Indian Hills Middle School. I am passionate about making Mission a place that everyone wants to be. I want to be part of continuing that into the future.
Very good.
So
Thank you.
something that Alexis failed to mention is, and it never fails, but she and I have worked with each other for 10 years at Sprint, so gotta keep your eye on us.
I'll take your condolences.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, please call for the roll.
Thomas.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Schlosmacher.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
All right, item 13, City Administrator's Report. Ms. Smith.
I do have several items this evening, Mayor. First, I just would like to echo the thanks and the compliments of the auditors to Brian Scott, Debbie Long, and Arla Spear, who spend a ridiculous amount of time on making sure that on an ongoing basis, that our financial house is in order so that we can continue to receive the reports that we do from the auditors. So, and that transition to a new audit firm is never easy. So we really do appreciate that today and every day. Next, Sandy, I was going to mention the Coffee with a Cop this Friday at 8, but Sandy beat me to that punch, so that's all right. The more we promote it, the more we'll see. Alex will be there. We also, the flags on Johnson Drive should be going up next week in advance of Memorial Day, so it's a great time to think about if you have a member of your family or a friend or someone that you would like to honor with a flag. Certainly, please consider a contribution to that Memorial Flag Fund.
Will we be using the new lift truck for that?
I suspect that we will be using the new lift truck to install the flags. We will be having a soft opening for the Mission Family Aquatic Center on Friday, the 25th of May. This is our opportunity to ride the slide before everyone else. It will undergo its official testing this Friday, but we will be an invitation to council boards and commissions and all of our employees and their families. The water will be cold, but it should be a fun evening. So 6 to 8 p.m. Friday the 25th, and if you no charge for admission, but everyone is encouraged to bring a toiletry item to donate to the City Union Mission. Also on Friday, May 25th, we will have Big Monster Friday in the park, another celebration and fundraiser for our friend Alex from the UK. So please join us if your calendar will allow. There'll be all kinds of fun things and inflatable devices, and I don't know what all the chief has up his sleeve.
The purple gorilla is coming back.
Yes.
And somebody's going off the high dive at 3 o'clock.
In full uniform?
I need to talk to you after the meeting. It's all about raising money.
And then also just a reminder that before we do meet again, we will have a community conversation on the budget on the 30th of May at 6:30 here at City Hall. We will have a public survey similar to the one that you all received a couple of weeks ago that will be going out to solicit some feedback and priorities from the community in advance of that community conversation. And lastly this evening, this is a project that has been in the works for about a year now. We talk so much about our brand and kind of that hometown feel and that hometown charm. And so we've been working to put together a video project that helps to promote our community and create that sense of who we are. So flip the lights, Emily, and it's first unveiling this evening.
I'm going to go all the way. How about that?
Oh!
I'm scared.
Yeah. You should.
the Sunflower Festival and some other places, that's some of what the people were wearing. So this will be up on our website and something that we hope to be able to use to just sort of show who we are as a city in a variety of different ways. So if you have suggestions on audiences who might benefit from that, please let us know. I love that. Emily had just a
And I love fancy stars in Mission too, that we wrangled into posing.
Did you fly the drone?
I did not. I am not licensed to do so.
Very good.
That's all I have this evening.
Okay. We don't have a need for an executive session tonight, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.